Hello, everybody, and welcome to loanofficerpodcast.com podcast with Tammy Saul. Tammy, it is wonderful to have you on the show. It's so good to see you again. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Chris.
Awesome. So tell everybody in the industry about you, your production, and then we'll dive into the nitty gritty because I think we're going to have a crazy episode here.
Okay, awesome. So, Tammy Saul, I am the owner of a company called Federal Hill Mortgage based in Baltimore City. This is our 20th year in business, so we're doing this quite some time. And before I opened my own company, I worked for somebody else as a mortgage loan officer for 2 years. And before I did that, I was actually a practicing attorney. So by background, I am an attorney. Once an attorney, always an attorney. I keep my license active. And I obviously bring that to what I do on a daily basis. And it's always given me an edge in the industry. But I do not practice anymore. I tell clients and agents I'm not suing anybody. Uh, so don't be scared of me. But that's my background. And in the beginning, I was just an average producer. I was the top producer in my branch before I opened my own company, but I was an average producer relative to what I'm doing now. And then over time, I got coaching, I got training, I got better, I got stronger. And beginning in about 2016 is when my production really spiraled up. And I became the #1 producer in Baltimore City at first. Then I became the #1 producer overall, men, women, brokers, lenders, everyone in Maryland for the last 3 years. And I'm presently the #1 female broker for units in the country. And I closing 200 million last year. But Chris, I know that sounds impressive, but the only place for me to go is up. That isn't enough for me. I keep on wanting to grow, and we do continue to grow. This month is going to be a pretty good month. I'm targeting around 25 million in production just this month.
Wow, that is incredible. First off, congratulations on an amazing journey and the success, because that is just absolutely incredible. And thank goodness you are not an attorney, because think of how many people you're helping in the mortgage business.
Yep.
So that's still an attorney, but not practicing. Okay. So the #1 question that I get all the time is like, how are they doing it? How are the producers producing the volume, especially in today's market? Like, it's a double achievement what you've done, especially considering the market conditions that we're in. So how do you generate all that business?
So I think one of the most common misnomers in our industry is that it's just one or two things that bring about all that business.
Yeah.
Combination of many different things that you have to do at the same time. And it's a combination of different uh, skills that you have to master over time. It's not overnight. I know people listening to this podcast and other podcasts want to know, and I'll give you everything that I can in the time that we have, and I'll give you examples, but realize that it is a constant growth. And that's one thing that you have to be committed to in this industry is growth. As much as I've grown, it's never enough for me. I want more. I'm always looking for new. I'm always looking for better. I'm always looking, and I make mistakes, and sometimes I step back and then I have to move forward. So, but in general, I would say it's a combination of two things. The first is that you have to be, as a loan officer or broker owner like me, you have to become highly skilled at different ways of getting business in the door, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
for me, that's never been consumer direct. It's never been, mail marketing. I don't buy leads. It's all relationship based, and it's relationships that I've built over time.
Yep.
And the relationships that I have invested into and performed on a very high level and taught my team to perform on a very high level to multiply that, right? That's one thing that many loan officers don't do purposely. And I'll tell you why I think they don't do it. It's not because they don't want to do it, it's because of time, right? Is that every transaction is an opportunity for another transaction. And you have to knock it out of the park on whatever deal you're working on to earn the next deal, to earn the relationship. Every single real estate agent or referral partner I work with now, they came from some transaction at some point in time where we impressed them on a level and asked for business. So if you do that consistently over time, purposely, strategically, and you have other people who work for you do it as well, the business can blow up pretty quickly. And your reputation builds pretty quickly, right? So that's a piece of it too. Now, and then you can translate that into reviews. People search for me online with reviews. So every time we close a transaction, we ask for a review. But on a very basic level, you have to become, you have to be an extraordinary loan officer. Don't get me wrong. And that's all I was for years, Scott. I was just an extraordinary, like, loan officer, right? And I did a good job, and they sent me a referral, and I thought, wow, this can grow pretty quickly. I never had to pay for leads. I don't do bank rate. I don't do anything like that. There isn't anything wrong with that. It's just not my model, right? I'm sorry I called you Scott. I know Chris. I just talked to
It's all good. It's all good.
So, but here's the other side of it. So, like I said, it's many different things, but you really can put it under two categories. You have to have that constant push of and focus of constantly going after new business through relationships, right? But then at the same time, you have to have the support in the office to capture it. If you don't, then what happens is where I was in the beginning, where I was getting all this business, getting these referrals, wasn't able to get back to people quickly enough, quality was lacking, and then I lost the referral. So you have to have a very disciplined team that fits with your culture, that works with you, that is able to support that production in their role while you do what's in your role as a loan officer. And you have to have them both in the same at the same time. And I didn't have them both at the same time in the beginning. I was struggling every month. You know, one of the things that our mutual friend Carl White talks about all the time is that the loan officer without support spends 2 weeks out of the month chasing the business and the other 2 weeks closing the business. And while he's closing the business, he's losing the business that's coming back to him.
That's right.
And you know, clients, agents, they can sense when you're too busy for them. They can
Oh yeah.
sense your rush. They can sense when you're stressed. So you have to create an environment where you aren't, because then that will attract new business. So to finish my very long answer to your short question, Chris, is that you know, you have to have both at the same time. It takes time to get there. They're not the only things. And you have to become a business attractor. I don't chase business. I used to, but I don't. And it's a much more gratifying existence. You become the
Yes.
person, you have to become the person that people want to work with.
Yep, 100%. And so we've had at this point, I think 52 of the top loan officers in the nation on the show. And I've been shocked at how many of them, I think almost every single one, talks at some point about their process of funding and how that is the main driver of referrals and new referral relationships. It's doing a good job, having a referable process, and then using and leveraging that referable process into new relationships. Because I think what a lot of people miss in the mortgage industry is they wait until after the deal is done to ask for the referral. And actually, so much of the opportunity is in asking for the referrals while you're doing the business, but also following up with the other people that are touching that transaction through the process as well. So could you talk a little bit about your process and how you and your team have structured that so that you get referrals from the deals that you're doing?
And just like my answer to your last question, there's so much there to unpack that all I can do is just give you a couple of examples. But let me give you the one that I think most loan officers overlook. Pot of gold, okay? And there's enough business for all of us. I,
Amen. Yes.
I'm fine giving this away, okay? But think about now how many times someone has to submit an offer on a home before they actually win, right? Some people win the first time, but most of the time it's three, four offers. And every time they submit an offer, there's an opportunity to do what? Call the listing agent to reinforce the pre-approval letter, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And we miss that opportunity because we think that's a waste of time. But if you're good and you're confident and you're seasoned, that listing agent, when you call them, by the way, right away, as soon as the offer is submitted, you call them right away to impress them, and you say the right thing, and I'll tell you what I say, they will feel the energy through the phone and they will be drawn to you. They will want to use you. I've had listing agents I've called to reinforce an offer who, by the end of the call, they asked me to refinance their home. I wasn't promoting myself. They asked me to refinance their home. I had another agent, I will name her. She's lovely. Her name is Philomena. We just closed our second transaction together, but I met her 2 years ago when I called her as the listing agent on a deal. Her client ended up not even accepting, but she liked me so much on the call we spent, and I was genuine. You got to be genuine. You can't be fake. People smell fake, and it doesn't feel good to be fake, right? And if you're not seasoned or confident enough to feel that you can be real, get better, improve your skill set, learn. Okay, people are very insightful. They can read you. So Philomena, I spoke with her for the first time 2 years ago. We had a 20-minute conversation. It started with me calling her. Hi, Philomena, I am so and so's lender. I just wanted to call and introduce myself and see if you had any questions regarding the buyer's pre-approval. And the first thing is they say is, wow, I haven't even looked at the offer. You called me so quickly. No other lender called me. I had 5 other offers. And then you can move that even further and say, well, that's because they're not as good as I am. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just being honest with her because I know that I am, right? And if you know that you are, say that you are. And if you don't know that you are, get there to feel like you are. Because being a loan officer is a skill. It's a skill on many levels. You have to technically know how to handle a loan. You have to know how to deal with people, provide updates, simplify information. You have to be an expert, but being an expert just takes training, right? And so many loan officers jump in and they say, well, how am I going to get all these leads? Work on you first. Work on you first. And then worry about that. Because if you work on you first and you do it the right way, genuinely, organically, the business will come. And then you can multiply that business into more business. So just to answer, going back to your question, so that's one thing that I think many of us miss is that phone call to the listing agent that we may think is a waste of time. That's an opportunity. They're wanting to speak with you. Hello, Joe. This is Tammy. I am Fred's lender. He submitted an offer to you on this property. Most of the time when they get calls from lenders, it's, hey, I'm a lender. Can you send me business? And they hate that. But if you start the conversation that way, don't ask for business, just impress them with your knowledge and the way that you speak and your responsiveness. And on top of everything, they will send you business. They will absolutely send you business. At the end of the call, sometimes they say, I've been really looking for a good lender. I'll add you to my list. I make a joke and I say to them, what list? You only need me. Because you know what? I'm not being braggy. I truly believe it. I truly believe it. And they know that I truly believe it. And I've never had somebody say you're bragging or anything. Once in a while, I'll say, look, I know this is going to sound like I'm bragging, but just to share with you a little bit about me, because I know the choice of lender is important, I'd like to let you know this, and that. And typically what they say, oh, I didn't think you were bragging, and you should brag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah. Now, during the process, I'll tell you what we do is once we're under contract, I do have multiple loan partners. Some people call them LOAs. And once the client is under contract, my loan partner, I always assign a loan partner to the file. I'm not disappearing. I'm still there, but the client is very clear that there's a loan partner to give them that full level service. You have to let them know. In the past, I didn't let them know. The loan partner would just call. They say, what is this? Tammy abandoned me, right? I didn't, but I wasn't clear, right? So over time, you learn what you didn't do right, and then you tweak until you get to a perfect process. And even now, it's great, but it's not perfect. And I'm always looking to tweak more. So the loan partner reaches out. The loan partner is required to give weekly updates by email, make a phone call to every party on the transaction once a week. But that phone call, and you know this, Chris, because we teach this in our club, is that phone call isn't to give them information. The information is already in the email. The phone call is to give them the information again, and then at the end, ask for a referral. So there's the constant asking for referrals throughout the process. And I teach my team, look, this forces you to do a good job because that conversation will not be natural or organic asking for a referral if you didn't respond to their email for 2 days. How can you ask for a referral? It's going to sound corny. So it keeps them on their toes to perform at a very high level.
Oh, and it's built-in accountability. It's built-in service on both sides of things. That's incredibly powerful. Tammy, thank you for that. And oh man, there's so much value to unpack here. So I'll move quickly and just a couple more questions. And thank you for being so generous with your time. So we've talked about process in place and now referral relationships. Can you talk about where you get the majority of your referral relationships from? And is it mainly realtors? Are you also reaching out into financial planners, the law offices, that sort of thing? Can you just kind of unpack your philosophy on how you generate referral relationships?
My philosophy has always been attack on all fronts. Attack on all fronts. I'm very nice, but I'm very vicious. I will get the deal. Okay. I am wired to close, and I love doing that.
Yep.
I'm wired to win. It's just my nature. It's always been my nature since I was a teenager. I will tell you, I'm looking at you on one screen and I'm looking at another screen. I call it my master spreadsheet, where every single referral that comes in, I write down who referred that person. Where did they come from? It's very important to track every
Yeah.
single referral, because then when it's slow, which it really is for me, you can go back and say, okay, I got the majority of my business from this source, and I'm not getting as much. What am I doing wrong? So when I'm looking at my sheet, for example, let me give you an example. So yesterday I had 10. I had 10 referrals. I don't call them leads, even though some kind of are, because I don't like that word. It doesn't fit with my culture. But I call them referrals. And of those referrals, two came from the same agent that I work with in Pennsylvania that I developed a relationship with a few years ago. Um, Another one came from a completely different agent I met through a transaction. So one, two, three, four, five of the 10 came from different real estate agents I work with that I met in the way that I just described.
Amazing.
One just emailed me randomly through my website. They Googled me, I guess. One was a referral from one of my employees. A couple came in from the website. So you've got to diversify your referral sources.
That's right.
You can't spend too much time on one or the other. I actually don't get as much business from financial planners and attorneys, not because I don't want them, but because the time, I have
Yep.
to, at this point in my career, I have to choose who I work with. And
That's
there are
right.
certain, and by the way, you didn't ask this question, but I want to bring this because I wish somebody had said this to me years ago, and I know many loan officers are listening. When you're searching for business and you're new, or even if you're not new, but you're looking for as much business as possible, you're grabbing everything you can. You're
Yep.
working with people who aren't necessarily nice to you, who don't fit your culture. And you kind of have to do that to get your base, but it creates for a somewhat miserable existence. And my quality of life and my business drastically improved when I created discipline in choosing who I work with. Um, if a real estate agent was aggressive, um, rude, not just real estate agent, anybody, disrespectful, I could see their trouble, I turn them away. I refer them to somebody else. And it's hard at first. It's very hard at first because I got this piece of business I don't want to turn away. You have got to trust loan officers that if you're doing the right thing, pushing that person out just creates space for you to bring another person in, and they will come. They will come. That is something I wish I would have done much sooner. And had I done it sooner, I would have produced much more, much faster, and been happier too.
Yeah, that is so true. I had a good mentor of mine. We reached a point and we were on a call and he said, "Chris, yes got you to where you are. No is going to take you to where you're going."
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes in those business relationships, it's so important. And the faster that you say no, the faster you get to fill your time with the right partners and the right relationships. And those are the ones that scale quickly, typically. That's what I found. So, okay. So we've got referral partners. Thank you again, Tammy. Now, I know that you've been through a personal journey, and if we could talk about that, but I'd like to frame the conversation slightly in the fact that you are one of the strongest people in mindset that I've met in the mortgage industry, because we've known each other for years, just in passing in the Freedom Club group and all of those wonderful things. And you always have the most beautiful outlook on life. And you're always, it doesn't matter what's going on in the industry, you're always the one in front of the group being like, I don't care what the market does, I'm going to go grow. I'm going to go grow. You have this incredible mentality. And I think something that stops a lot of loan officers is what if? Or what if this happens? Or what if this happens? Or if I do this, what would this? And people spend so much time trapped in not doing of the thing because their mind takes over and stops them because they have excuses. So I know recently you had a battle with cancer, and I'm wondering if you would share with our audience how you went through that.
Yes, yes. So I will share. Before I share, just to give you a baseline, where all of that comes from, in my opinion, that you just described, is that I am a first generation immigrant. And as a first generation immigrant, I mean, I came here when I was very young, and you can't tell by the way I speak, but I was born in Kiev, Ukraine. And so,
Wow.
as a first generation immigrant, coming here at the age of 3, when my parents were in their 20s and had lived their entire life there, I've always had an appreciation for opportunity, for the American dream. And I look around me in this industry and I see so much opportunity. And I'm like, I want it all. And I'm willing to work for it, right? You know that poem, don't bargain, you bargain in life for a penny. That's what you get, right? So to me, I recognize opportunity. And when I see it, I go for it. And I'm willing to work hard and I'm a very, very hard worker. So that's always been at the core of my culture. In fact, I talk about it at the company to my loan partners. If you walk down the hall, you see a Maryland flag, a United States flag, and a Ukrainian flag on the wall. And I asked everybody, "Are you okay with this?" And they were fine with it. So, but last year, you are correct. In July, now I'm a healthy person, exercise, eat right, do all the right things. In July of last year, I was diagnosed with T-cell lymphoma, T-cell ALL, which is a blood cancer. Came out of nowhere. It was shocking. It was scary. They told me that if I didn't undergo treatment right away, the life expectancy was 7 to 8 months. Chris, I have a 5-year-old and a 9-year-old. So when that happened, I said to myself, I just approached it like I do everything else. I'm going to do whatever it takes. Give me the maximum, whatever you're going to give me. I had 40 rounds of chemo, full body radiation, bone marrow transplant. There were days when, and I was on a lot of medication. There were days when I couldn't, get up out of bed, nausea, throwing up. But as soon as I could, I got back up and I worked. And I closed 200 million last year. I would have done more had it wasn't for that. But it was all about commitment. Um, and I think that for me, when you're a parent and you look at your children, you realize you're doing this for them. I'm setting an example for them. I'm setting an example for my daughter and my son that no matter what you're going through, you can get through it. We're much stronger than we think. We're much stronger than we think. So that's what I went through. And now I'm in full remission. I'm cancer free. Of course, we have to watch it to make sure it doesn't come back. And I'm really happy. But in the beginning, it was scary because we didn't know what would happen. We
Yeah.
had no idea. So anybody who gets a cancer diagnosis, and I don't have any kind of cancer like that in my family, it was like I have no explanation for why that
Yeah.
happened. It was just uh, great and fortuitous that we found out when we did, because if it would have been 7 months later, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you.
Wow. Well, Tammy, I'm so glad that you're cancer free, and congratulations. And to go through that journey, it's wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
200 million while dealing with that. What an
Mhm.
incredible mindset.
Yep.
So Federal Hill Mortgage, can you talk a little bit more about what that is and how people can get more information?
Sure. Well, there is a lovely website that is federal.com. It is a website we've had for 20 years, and we're I'm very proud of what we do. And I know every business owner is proud of what we do, but I truly believe and know that we do things on next level in every way possible. We are a relationship-based business. Not everyone is. We invest in our relationships. We invest in my staff. They're all happy. They work together well. I've had a lot of turnover. People didn't work well. By the way, if you're hiring, somebody doesn't work out after 2 weeks, get rid of them.
Yes.
Don't think they're going to get better. The way they are is the way they are.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to learn how to fire faster. In the past, I kept people too long. Carl taught me hire slow, fire fast.
Yep.
That's definitely propelled my business to where I have the team that I have. We have a great reputation, but the common theme every time I have a meeting on Monday with my staff, which I prepare very thoroughly for over the weekend to provide value, I tell them we're doing awesome. Look what we did last month. Look what we did this week. Look at this client review. This brand new agent is now sending me all of his business just because I did a good job. I didn't even get to asking him to send me something. But that's not what matters. Be proud, but what are we going to do now? What are we going to do next? What are we going to do further? What are we going to do more? And that's just the way we are. And we put action behind it. Many companies, they sit there talking about this or that, but that's why we've grown, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, yes, I did more production in 2021. I did 312 million, but so did everyone else. I mean, to be able, this year we will probably do 300 million, and the majority of it will be purchased. And the most important thing is that it's sustainable. You have to create a sustainable business. When you have employees on salary like I do, you have to maintain a certain level of production. So I'm not just the loan officer. I'm not just bringing in the business, but I'm also having to always watch what everybody's doing and make sure that everybody's in their highest and best use. So I'm a business owner and I'm a loan officer at the same time. And I love it. It's very exciting. It's the American dream, Chris. To be able to, to be able to create and not worry about somebody taking it from you.
Yeah.
That's the American dream.
Oh, that is
do things the right way. Do things the right way. Yes.
That's right. That is absolutely right. Well, referral-based purchase, treating people right, incredible processes, and incredible leadership. Tammy, so much value here today. Thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate you so much, and I'm so thankful to have a relationship with you.
Likewise, likewise.
Awesome. Okay, to all of our listeners, if that's not worth a 5-star review on iTunes, I don't know what is. And make sure that you check out the show notes for information on how to contact Tammy and Federal Hill Mortgage. And we look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Tammy, thank you again.
Thank you, Chris.